Okay. I would like to request for a loan facility of 500 million for a particular purpose of our company. And I happen to be an accountant attached to the company ABC. So I brought a project proposal. First of all, let me give an introduction about the company. We are a Sri Lankan-based logistic company located at Seedura, quite close to the Katunayake Airport Free Trade Zone. And the company is held by two individuals. Two ladies hold 50% of the stake each.
Okay.
And the company started operations in year 2000 by initially providing logistics facilities to Marks and Spencer. Right now, of course, we have a lot of prestigious clients, and with a staff strength of about 250, and we have been in this business for more than 20 years. And the company derives revenue from a couple of sources. I have mentioned the details about each and every source. The first one happens to be the consolidated freight station, which means basically facilitating export-oriented companies to use our warehouse to consolidate their locally manufactured fashion garments and export the quantity to overseas buyers. So garments from local clients like Brandix, MAS, as well as other Asian countries, consolidated then exported exclusively to UK. And a similar operation happens that has been given a different name, XYZ Private Limited. Actually, it's accounted for in that name. Now also a similar operation happens, but it's just that a value adding segment also happens there in addition to the consolidating part, right?
That means you are having two companies, is it?
Yes, no. In the sense now, we derive revenue from several sources, but this particular trading house facility where a value addition takes place is accounted for in a different name.
Okay. Right.
And then there's another operation, franchise operation with Marks and Spencer, that is kind of straightforward. And we provide rental space and logistics services to a diversified client base, and some of them happen to be FMCG customers as well. I have mentioned the details. These details have been extracted from the agreements that we have entered into with clients. And we provide another source is provision of rental space. There also I have mentioned the details of the customers along with the income derived, details of some of the customers. And the final segment is the bond operation, where we facilitate importers to kind of secure their cash flow by paying duty only when releasing goods. So details of that is also mentioned there.
Now, can I ask a question? Unilever, you say rate per km. What do you mean rate per km?
Unilever rate per kilometer, because that's transport as well.
This transport
and transport. So the rate per kilometer is 116, and in certain instances I have mentioned USD 13 PT means per pallet, right? That is kind of a measurement, a storage measurement, right? Yeah, and so many of our customers have requested for additional space. Because of that, we want to extend the warehouse, and our promoters have found a new land, adjacent land containing an extent 230 perches, right? And then they intend to construct 4 new warehouses to accommodate these clients, right? So what we require is a loan facility of 500 million repayable over a 5-year tenure. But we want a grace period of 18 months. That is inclusive in the sense 5 years subject to a grace period of 18 months. So the repayment period is only 42 months, right? So the extension to the warehouse will enable us to generate at least 20 million per month additional revenue. And we have found clients, in the sense prospective customers, who are willing to rent out around 212,000 square feet. So just want to make sure that there's a leeway if some of the customers drop out, right? And so the details.
How long will it go for construction, or will they wait for the construction time?
Yes, because some of them happen to be our existing customers as well, right? So they know the reliability of the service, and they have been dealing with us for a long time, and then so it won't be an issue. So because of that only, we found prospective customers for a higher extent than what we are actually constructing.
Sure.
Yeah. So then I have mentioned about the project cost. Now the total project cost consists of the land cost, then the warehouse cost, then equipment and machinery, also the road development cost, in the sense the road leading to this new land has to be repaired, and that is also mentioned here. So out of 965, what we require is only 500 million, right? I have also stated the timelines for each of these activities. Now, if you take the timelines, altogether it will take around 16 months. So on a conservative basis, I have requested for a grace period of 18 months.
Okay.
Right? To make sure that we service the capital only once the project is completed, right? And I have mentioned details about the construction, purchase of equipment, machinery, and all. Means of financing is 465 million will come from equity. So the equity ratio is 52 to 42%, right? And the security will be the proposed land, and it's a large land valued at 4.3 billion, so we can give a part of that. And also, if the additional property along with the construction cost is sufficient, we can give that. We can negotiate where the security is concerned. And also,
you are going to give more than the project land, project property, additional land also as security, is it?
Yes, if there is a requirement, we can give that. But since the loan amount requested is only 500 million, I don't think there is a requirement for us to pitch a very high valued land. So because of that, we can give a part of this 23 acres. And also, but if you all require the property which is to be acquired from the funds that you all are willing to give, then we don't mind pledging that also, right? And I have mentioned the details about the past accounts, just a summary of the past financial highlights. So the company has generated an acceptable revenue, and then even where the interim accounts are concerned, right? At the height of COVID also, they had clients, but of course there was a slight deterioration in the revenue. Still, they have been able to achieve a profit of 77 million. And also, if you take the balance sheet, their current gearing ratio is at a low level, right? The long-term liabilities in comparison to the net worth is at a low level, right?
Yeah. And, I see 2019 you have a loss. And
yes, so that is due to this tax issue, sir. If you take the profit before tax, we have paid a tax of 409 million. That is due to a deferred tax issue, right, which took place as a result of revaluation. So because of that only, we have incurred a loss. But if you take the following year, we had a tax refund, and that has enabled us to increase our net profit from a profit before tax of 116 to 255, right? And if you take the balance sheet, the retained earnings are also becoming positive, right, due to the profits generated. And also our gearing is at a very low level. And the capital and revaluation reserves, of course, they have been remaining constant for some time. And I have mentioned some details about the group company receivables. And when we are planning to get these receivables, because these have been concerns. So I have just mentioned as to when we are going to receive them. So in addition to that, now I did a forecast, right? There I have considered the profit available to service debt from the existing business, right? And I have prepared the projections taking the revenue generated as at 31st of March 2020 as a base figure, because 21 was an exceptionally low figure, right? And we think that it's not really justifiable, it's not practical to use that as a base figure, because that was kind of an exceptional year. So basically the profit available to service this is derived, and also even the where the extension to the warehouse is concerned, I have done another projection which is stated under 7.9, right? Here now, with reference to the first year, I have assumed only 50% of the capacity to be operational for 6 months, right? And also 80% of the capacity to be operational for the next year, followed by a 10% increase, right? And the existing debt commitments, the main debt commitments happen to be this 717 million. That is an existing debt that they have obtained, right? And the interest rate is 9%. And also with reference to the loan that we are requesting, the 500 million loan, we want the repayment structure to be ballooned, in the sense now where the first year is concerned, it will be a grace. And also with reference to the second year, 6 months, we want grace. And during the balance 6 months, we will pay 50 million. And in the following years, we will pay 70, 180, and 200, right? So that is the way we want you all to structure the loan. And I have mentioned some details about the industry and market as well, in the sense the details about the key competitors, and to what extent we are also in a competitive position. So that's about it.
Right. Okay. Thank you, Tharindra. I have a few questions. One is that now you don't have a executive summary.
Okay.
Yeah, but you have a good project proposal. But if the executive summary was there, then the summary of the proposal will be there. Then the bank can see it clearly what your project is. Right?
Okay.
Then remember, when we studied, we said that we study only the project cash flows. So have you done on that basis only project cash flows, because you have
this is something actually, sir. Now this is the real in the sense, this is a customer that we are kind of dealing with, right?
Company, right?
Yeah, this is an actual company, and it happens to be a PEP as well, but I can't disclose the names and all. Right? And so it's not possible to service a large debt only from the project cash flows, because now where the warehouse extension is concerned, right, that could generate a minimal cash flow. The profit available to service debt is at a very low level, right? But then they have a group of companies, right? I just incorporated only one company to this presentation, because otherwise it would have been very lengthy, right? So they have 4 other companies, and we had to consider the cash flows derived from all the companies to prove that they can service the debt.
Right. Okay. I get the point, but we have to look at whether the project is viable. You know, when you do a project, you can service from other companies. Normally, I know when HNB Towers, we took about 10 years to recover our investment, because when renting, so you spend a lot on construction. It is not very fast. Your recovery is not so fast like any other business. So maybe, what is the payback period of this project?
Yeah, well, 500 million. That, of course, I didn't calculate, sir.
You haven't calculated IRR, NPV?
No.
Yeah. So, okay, those are what we learned. So you have to use those as well. Then this, then you say in 7.7, profit to service debt. Normally, we look at the profit is not a cash item. You know, profit has a depreciation as well, non-cash items. So you have to use the cash
Yeah, but then there, what I meant is the cash to service debt, because I have added back the depreciation when arriving at the profit available to service debt.
Here you have only taken project cash flows, or the other cash flows as
No,
well?
other cash flows as well. Other cash flows in the sense, the cash flows, the profit from the normal business, right?
Right.
As well as the project cash flows. But I
Okay.
have added back the depreciation, the non-cash items, in order to arrive at the amount available to service debt.
Okay. Then you're asking a repayment program.
Yeah.
50 million in 2023, I think 2023.
22. Yeah, 23.
It's little odd. In 2024, you're asking for 70 million. Now 50 million is for 6 months, and it should be for 1 year. It should be more than 100 million. You see, because balloon means now you are started the operations, so you have to increase little by little.
It's 50, 70, 180, and 200.
Yeah, but 50 is for 6 months.
Okay. Okay.
So you have to keep that in mind when you ask the bank. Your bank will see why are you asking only 70 million repayment, right? And you are paying it very early. So you could have taken maybe 7 years, 8 years even, because this type of investment you can't pay back so early. Right? That's why you have this. You have to use the other cash flows as well to get the debt service cover ratio.
All right. Okay. This particular client requested for a 2-year repayment, and with the greatest difficulty, I managed to convince him to go for 5 years. But
Okay. Right.
that has been the case in the sense he requests for.
But then he
sorry?
Existing balance of 700 million or something also.
Yes.
Existing term loans from
not from NDP. Sorry, not from the bank that we are talking about. From another bank.
Okay. No. Yeah, you are putting a Ceylon Bank, Sampath 2 loans, 717 million. Yeah. Right. Okay. That you could not change, no? ABC, BCD also.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you, Tarindri. Any of you have any questions from Tarindri regarding this proposal? She's very lucky because she has a customer and she has taken the customer information and prepared the proposal. Any of you has any questions? Okay. So, Tarindri, thank you very much. And for starting the process, now we'll go to the next presenter. According to what I have received proposals, Priyanjala has to do the presentation, but Priyanjala spoke to me in the morning. She has something in the bank, commercial bank, so she will not be here. Next is all NDB, Subhashini Bandara. Subhashini, are you there?
So she was on leave today, sir. We heard that she is not well.
Oh, right. Okay. She is not well because of today's presentation, or actually she is not well?
Actually, she is not well.
Right. Then Ayanta Piris. Was she in the office today?
Yes, I saw her a little while ago.
Right. Okay, Ayanta. Let me see.
But just, can I ask a question, sir? I mean, now, when we do project proposals, say,
Right.
for example, this particular proposal, we didn't calculate the NPV, the IRR, or the payback period, right? So what we calculated was the DSCR, and the credit committee was also concerned about the marginal debt service cover. Now, there also it's just a little over 1, right?
Yeah, 1.1.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then now the actual loan quantum is 800 million. So I had to take the cash flows of all the companies to make sure that it exceeds 1.
Okay. So, but you have taken only 500 million loan.
No. So here I just took 500 million because I mean, I
right.
don't want to incorporate details about all the other companies.
Okay.
But I mean, I'm just telling you, I mean, we didn't calculate the NPV nor the IRR.
Yeah.
So is there a particular type of projects for which we should calculate IRR and NPV?
No, all the projects you should calculate, but here you are not going by project financing. That's the problem. Project financing is what you earn from the project, you use for the now when you take the project financing, you don't take loan or equity. You first look at whether the project is viable. So that's what first we have to do. We take the project and calculate NPV, IRR, and see whether the project is viable, whether we are getting the required return. Right. After that, only you go for the how to do the financing part. Right. So,
so you have to. Right. Okay. So what sort of financing is this then? If this is not project financing, what I spoke about just now.
This is like combination of project and maybe commercial financing, corporate finance, because you are using another business cash flows at the same company, but no, you are.
No, they have a group of companies.
Okay, but is ABC only going to borrow from the bank?
Joint borrowers.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'm referring to the real case scenario, but here, of course, I just mentioned, joint borrowers.
Why have they come to you when the other bankers have any other bankers?
No, they have been banking with us since 2013, right? And they obtained 4 facilities from us, and now, of course, the balances have come down, right? And so, I mean, since their property,
they would have come to you because you don't have any balances.
Yes, and also their properties with us. Part of that property is with us. So rather than getting it cleared from another bank and going through this title checking process and everything, I think that it's more convenient to get it from us.
Okay. Right. Okay. Thank you. This is not specifically a project finance, but you have done something related to a project, so we'll accept it. Now they come by. Now I have a proposal which we had done for approval. That is also not project. They are taking cash flows from other sources, the directors' cash flow, directors' income, all these things to justify the repayment capacity. I will share that with you in future. Right. So now we can't find Subhashini, we can't find Ayanta. We'll go to Shalindri. Is Shalindri there? So if they are not excused, they will lose marks also, I think. Shalindri also, I can't see. Maybe we. Nobody, are you ready?
Shall I do it? So
yeah, you can do it. Okay. So you saw how to do it.
I'll try. Yeah.
Meanwhile, suddenly all NDB people have ABC company.
Okay. But I think I have missed certain words. So the Sampath Bank, Zelan Bank, those words.
You have disclosed some information of the customer.
But still, you can't figure out who it is. So?
Yeah.
Can you?
Yeah, we can't figure it out.
You can't figure out.
This Ravi Karunanayak has a facility that side, no? Karunanayak.
Okay. So
So, hi everyone. This is our company, which is named as Organic Spice Lanka Private Limited, is a newly incorporated company which has been incorporated in 2021, mainly to manufacture organic spices and export them to different countries. So, if I brief about how Organic Spice Lanka was formed. Our shareholders have a company called Authentic Spice Lanka Private Limited, which has been incorporated in 1992 by our visionary leader, Mr. P. Srinavalage. It manufactures and exports spices, chutneys, and pickles it supplies to local supermarkets and also to exports countries like Singapore, Australia, Maldives, Qatar, and Canada. This operation is located in Alpetia. This is currently a 3 billion turnover company. It has certifications, quality certifications of ISO 22000 and HACCP and GAMP. So we formed the organization called Organic Spice Lanka Private Limited. If I go towards our brand name and Authentic Spice Lanka, our products are branded as in the brand name of ASL. So we incorporated a new company called Organic Spice Lanka Private Limited in order to manufacture organic spices and mainly to export them to different countries. So our rationale, why we developed this project is mainly due to demand we got from our existing buyers from different countries, mainly from Qatar, Oman, and then Maldives and Singapore. So they had there's international demand coming up for organic spices. So currently we are equipped with all the required organic certificates. And also to initiate this project, we have found 500 farmers for cultivation. However, our existing capacity under ASL is insufficient. So factory space and the machinery is insufficient. We are running at a maximum capacity at the ASL. So because of that, we have decided, our shareholders decided to incorporate a new company and give it as a different entity. So our products will be then branded in the name of Organic ASL in order to use the existing strengths of existing brand name of ASL. So in terms of industry and market, the global market is forecasted with a 4.7% growth in the next 25 years. And the spices have very high nutritional benefits, which has been highly demanded, which is currently has a huge demand in the international markets, in Europe markets as well. In terms of current COVID-19 impact, because of it, this has given a positive factor for the spices, because it has increased the demand for spices which provides immunity, such as turmeric, ginger, garlic, as well. So next thing, if we go across, if we consider about the Sri Lankan market, Sri Lanka is one of the leading exporters of cinnamon and pepper, cloves, nutmeg, and cardamom type of items are also imported by Sri Lanka. In addition to exported by Sri Lanka. In addition to these exports, Sri Lankan market has produced essential oil items, oil resins, which are derived from spices. So from Sri Lankan agriculture exports, about 56% is spices, related to spices and all. In 2020, Sri Lanka has made US $335 million export earnings, which is a 7% growth. So in terms of the market, if we do a SWOT analysis, this market has strengths of, our country has a long history and well-established production market, and also our climate geographical is strengths of this then strengths of this type of operation. So in terms of weaknesses, our availability of skilled labor and also commercial cultivation is a weakness in this industry, and also awareness of quality standards among the producers. So in terms of threats, what we face is
production volumes are low in Sri Lanka, and also the quality, there are malpractices in giving low quality and smuggled products. And this is an industry which is highly capital sophisticated equipments are needed. So we don't have that type of ability to invest on those. However, our government is giving a good support in order to export this type of products. So they have established training centers and processing centers for spices and create the awareness. So in terms of our operation, we are going towards commercial cultivation, and also we are going towards a sophisticated equipment. So we're trying to handle our weaknesses and threats inside our company with this proposal. So our product range will be under two categories. One is dried organic spices, and one would be grounded organic consumer packs. There would be different type of items under different packaging. So in terms of target market, we have negotiated and discussed with our current existing ASLs, mainly Carrefour supermarket chain and the Lulu hypermarkets, then Mustafa, then STO type of who are our existing customers at ASL. We have negotiated with them and arrived at our quantities of forecast also with their, depending on the negotiations we had with them. So our main this particular project will require we will be building a factory in a land owned by our shareholders, which is adjoining our existing plant in a 50 perch land. We have estimated, we have designed this factory with 8,000 square feet. Our total construction will be cost around 25.5 million. In addition to that, we have to import our required machinery and do the installation. So we will be importing one grinding mill, drying oven, steam roaster for sterilization, and 4 metal detect systems, and a packing machine and accessories. So in addition to that, we will be purchasing locally a color sorter, a rack system and ladders, and some plastic storing bins in order to store the grounded spices. So altogether for all this machinery and equipments, approximate 6.25 million will be cost. Then our total project cost will be 25 million for the capital investment. There will be 25 million and 66.65 million. After that, there will be a working capital requirement as well. I'll come to that. However, in the initial level, if we consider about the plant capacity, this type of investments will have a useful life of about 10 to 15 years. So we are doing this investment with the long run objective. So initial year, our capacity utilization will be somewhere around 25%, which will grow up to 40% in the 5th year, where we have considered only 5 years only considering our payback period. So thereafter, we are expecting by the 10th day, it will go up to 80-85%. Then this would be our process where we'll be sourcing raw spices, drying them, sorting and grading for the normal dried packs, and for the rounded packs, they will be roasted and grind and metal detector, and then we'll be going for packing and storing. So in terms of total project cost, our land we assume it has a market value of 25 million. So we have considered that as equity investment from our shareholders. And our factory building, our BOK has come 25.5 million. For that, we are expecting a 15 million facility from the bank. And also we have a 66.25 million requirement for the machinery. And in addition to that, 30 million requirement as working capital. And also total interest in the grace period will come to about 2.6 million at 8% rate. So our total in project is the value of 150 million project, where we are looking for a 95 million banking facility, whereas our shareholders will be investing approximately 55 million. So we are looking for a facility for a period of 5 years with a 6 months grace period. Why we are expecting a construction period of 3 months, and our working capital cycle will be somewhere 1 month cycle. So in order to be safe side, giving another 2 additional months for business to catch up, and if there's any construction delays, we are requesting for a 6 months grace period. In addition to that, a packing credit facility package of 30 million to fund the initial working capital. So in the project proposal, we have given the forecasted income statement and balance sheet, but I'm not going to present it here because it will be very large number, big in, we won't be able to get anything there. So based on prior experience and negotiations we had with our existing supermarket chains, sales volumes and prices are forecasted. And based on that, those particular sales volume, raw material requirement is calculated considering wastage, whereas for raw spices, 5% wastage and grounded spices, 10% wastage is considered. And we have identified approximately 500 farmers to supply the raw material or this raw spices. This project will create in the first year 20 direct employment opportunities directly. But in terms of if we consider about the farmers who will be getting benefited from this project, will be approximately 500 farmers. So here I have given the forecasted cash flow statement. So then we have calculated the project IRR and the equity IRR. Our NPV comes for within 5 years. Our NPV comes to 50 million at the 20% rate, and project has IRR of 30%. Payback period has been calculated as 4 years and 3 months. Hence, we have requested for a facility of 5 years term loan. So in terms of if we are given these facilities as we requested, our equity IRR will be go up to 77.5%. We have done a sensitivity analysis whereby decline in the demand and in terms if the selling prices growth or decline, how it will be, and if the borrowing costing prices, how it will be. Likewise, we have calculated the equity IRR as well. So here's our debt service coverage ratio. We are very confident that we will be able to reservice this particular facility we are seeking from the bank. We will be considering our DSCR. So project implementation, we have a schedule within 3 months of period. We are expecting to complete this project by doing the required civil work and importing the machinery, and by training staff and all. By the fourth month we are expecting to finalize this project, but in terms of we have to keep a buffer of 2 months as well. So thank you.
Thank you. A very good proposal and very feasible project. Project or
this is a project proposal I received from a client, but certain things I have amended. Actually, we couldn't analyze it because we couldn't go forward this facility because this came up with a grant. Government grant also was there. So, and also it came in the last year period where this COVID situation was there. So we were not being very favorable and giving additional facilities to any clients. Our bank was very reluctant in that.
You know, last year, all the advances given by banks, 80% have gone to the government or government entities. Only 20% gone to private sector. So that's how you develop the private sector. And this is a food project. I have few more food projects proposals with me for today. And one thing is you can round off these figures. Now even the executive summary, you put 149,842,690.
Okay.
You can't exactly estimate like that, so you can make it in your percentage. You put 150 million, right?
Yes.
Okay. Then you have mentioned the BOQ prepared by chartered engineer. Chartered engineers normally don't prepare the BOQ. That is done by quantity surveys. The chartered engineer will do the design and other aspects, structural design, all these things.
So they were attached as annexures, I believe, to the proposal that you
I
did.
didn't attach the BOQ. I was just given the some
Ah,
total
yeah.
amount.
Right. Okay. Right. Okay.
So I don't
But the
have
slideshow and everything, the material was presented very well. No, I mean all the parameters and everything that you required was presented. So,
Yeah. That's
That's very
thoroughly explained, no? Okay. Any other comment, Tarini?
no, I mean mainly this is something that I just want to say. Now, when we do project financing at NDB, in most of the instances, it's very difficult for us to analyze or assess as to whether the project is exactly viable, because I mean due to the relationship, and if the client is a long-standing client of ours, right, then and if the client has been maintaining a good debt service record in the past, we somehow or other try to grant the facility, I guess.
That
All
happened.
these-
I think I shared with you what we did with DSI roof tiles, right? The
Okay.
DSI roof tiles, when they came to us, we thought it is not a viable project. But DSI is our good customer and we can't let it down. So we gave the loan and they struggled, but since they are
Somehow or other they paid. Because now, actually, I didn't calculate, I mean, even for the actual submission, I didn't calculate the NPV or the IRR for the project that I spoke about, sir. But if I calculated NPV or the IRR, I don't think it would be very attractive, no?
Okay.
Yeah, where the project is concerned, if you take the project in isolation.
I think I'll give you homework. You calculate.
No, please. No.
Okay.
I did homework say 20 years ago, but not anymore. No more homework. No.
Okay.
But I'll go through the tudes, and you have given another assignment, right? So before that, we'll have to go through the tudes and all.
Okay.
Okay.
Right. So Noori, I think better to keep the camera on because I'm asking, I'm sharing something and asking questions. Then you said that that global market overview is for 5 years, no, 2020 to 2025. You said 20,
yes, 5
years, but your paper says 5 years, 2020 to 2025.
That detail I got from the internet.
No, but then you have put it in the paper also, 2020 to 2025. That's what my question is.
Yeah, 5 years, next 5 years, yes.
Okay, then do you have this statistic? What is agriculture export share of total exports? Now you are giving the spices share of the agriculture exports. What is the agriculture exports in Sri Lanka of total exports? That's not available, no?
That's agriculture that might be available. I have not taken that. That must be available for you. You mean to the agriculture share of exports? No?
Yes, the agriculture share of exports.
That might be. That must be there.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's available in the CBSL sector performance report.
Whose sector performance?
CBSL Central Bank sector performance.
Yeah, right. Okay.
I think it's there.
Then the threats, you have put low production volume as a threat. Maybe it can be a weaknesses also, no? Now, like you put lack of awareness of quality standard weakness. Low production volume also maybe a weakness rather than a threat. And you didn't study on export houses. No, normally for these agriculture things, you have export houses where people export houses buy the things and export. That is not covered because you are like export house. Now, my question is, how are you making this organic?
It's the cultivation.
Yeah, but you haven't mentioned how you do it. No, you say organic thing, but you are going to buy from the farmers and are they doing organic or not? How do you make it?
That's why this has identified specific farmers, and they are going to monitor the cultivation likewise and make it organic.
Did you mention that in the report?
No, I have not mentioned. It was in the
very important. If you are saying organic, then you have to say how you ensure organic. Right?
Yeah.
when you come to the bank will ask, you say over it, but you're doing same thing with your existing company. Nothing different. Okay. Then rounding off again, the construction cost 25.5 million. You can make it 25.497. Then project cost. Now the land. Where is the land cost?
I have included 25 million.
Yeah.
It was there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was there.
If you go to my
Very first item.
Yeah. Sorry. Okay.
Sorry, in the project report I have, it goes to the third item, but in the presentation I have put it in the first item.
Yeah, it should be first item. Now.
Yes, exactly.
So how did you arrive at this 500,000 per purchase?
My assumption was market value.
Market value. Correct. Okay. Market value.
I assumed it as 500,000.
Right. So you have to check, no, when the customer comes with
Yeah.
the value, then we have to see whether it's the market value, or, right? Because they can just increase the value and come.
Yeah. Manipulate the bank also.
Yeah. You did the cash flow, no? Cash flows. And
Yes.
I think all in all, very good. Now your sensitivity analysis.
Yes.
Have we done sensitivity yet? No. I am about to do actually sensitivity. This is not sensitivity. This is scenario analysis. When you change few variables at the time, then it is scenario. Okay. Sensitivity is when you change one variable and see how sensitive IRR NPV. Yeah. And again, I think now the banks are going for this equity IRR and project IRR. Actually, project IRR is the more important thing.
Yes. The project is viable.
Project is viable. And then you also have same year one interest and capital repayment. You took the 1 year of capital repayment, so 6 months. Now you said 6 months you got.
Year one is from the initial level of. I mean, like in the first 6 months, it's the grace now.
Yes.
And after that, next 6 months, in the year one, 6 months is grace, and the next 6 months is the capital repayment.
Yeah, again, this problem Tharindri had, you have now. You have 6 months, 14 million interest and capital repayment, and the next year for 12 months you have 21 million. So that means, so it cannot be, because 6 months will be maybe half or little more than the half. No? Yeah, maybe.
So I didn't get you, sir.
Now 6 months capital repayment. We say the loan is how much? 200. What is the amount of the loan? 95 million.
That is 65 million. For the loan amount is 65.
65 million. Then you have 5 years, right? 5 years actually you have 48 months, no? Right? Is it 4 years and 6 months or 5 years repayment?
4 years and 6 months.
Yeah. So 4 years and 6 months, you have to divide by 48. You know what is the capital repayment and multiply by 6 to get the year one. But what I think is your amount in year one seems to be a little high for 6 months. That's what I feel. Maybe your calculation must be correct. Right. That must be correct, what you have done. And then you say 3 months project implementation. Then from one, this is monthly, no? You have given project implementation.
Weekly.
So 9th month you are getting the machinery.
Yeah, after the certain level of construction done in only 9th month, not the 9th week.
This is weeks. Sorry.
Weeks, yes.
Okay. Yeah. I'm sorry, I didn't see the week. So 12 weeks. I think very good contractor maybe to do the construction in 3 months.
These are factories, no, sir. It's not like very sophisticated.
Okay, thank you, Dhoni. Very well presented and responded to my queries as well. Okay, anyone else ready now from this list?
Sorry?
No, I'm asking now. You are done.
Okay.
You're done.
Okay, thanks.
Is Subhashini there?
No, she's the person who's sick today,
Ah,
Dr. Sir.
Then Ayanta and Salindri. Either of them cannot be seen. No? And okay. So I think I congratulate two of you, Sarindri and Nuwani, for being the first to present and doing a good job. Okay. So I hope the next time I will read the names now. The next week who has to do the presentations are Vasana Heva Vitarana, Isuri Silva from Union Bank, two colleagues of Nuwani, Sudeshi Rajapaksha, Sureka Kulasekara, HK Sampath, Fernie Samaratunga. Fernie, are you ready to do it today? No. I have not asked you to do it today, right? Anuradha Herat, MIM Imam, JK Dhammika, Kumari Premachandra, and Indivari Pathiran. Okay. You thoroughly tell your colleagues also to be ready next time, right?
Okay, sir. Okay, will do.
Thanks. And they have submitted, some of them haven't submitted proposals also. What shall we do? Shall we? We have taken 1 hour, so we'll take the break and we'll meet at 8:50. Good evening again. So I thought I will go with you. This is Dilmika Jayasinghe's presentation to see whether you have learned anything. So this will be a discussion, and we'll see. I think now 2 presentations made by Tharindri and Nuwani, and they also had some of this information. Right? We'll see what she said was cost estimate is very important. Right? Cost estimate is very important. Why is the cost estimate important?
Because the debt quantum is based entirely on that, right?
Yeah. Yes, because of that. Now someone can overestimate the project cost and come to the bank, and then he says he's putting equity, but he will not be putting equity because we give 60% of the loan. That may be the total project cost. So we have to see whether the project cost they are giving. Now I have to check whether Tharindri and Nuwani has given the correct project cost. But I'm not checking. I'm just saying when someone comes to the bank with a project proposal, we have to check whether this project cost they are giving is reasonable, right? And that is land cost, civil machinery, preliminary expenses. Now initial working capital, I could not comment. Nuwani, you have taken that initial working capital should be in the project cost and to be financed by equity and debt. I think you have put it as a packing credit or something. Remember?
Yeah, yes, sir. I took it on the project cost, but the financing method I considered as a revolving facility. So, is it a requirement? Is it a? I mean, like, is it a requirement?
I think better because I think when I did this initial working capital presentation also earlier, because initially you need to take it as a part of the project cost, right? And then it is easy for the operations. And then you finance with equity and debt rather than putting as additional facility. But depending on the project, you can see whether it is initial working capital we need to have to start. Like you need to buy stocks, you need to buy, you need to give credit. All these things have to be there. Then it is more comfortable to the promoter to do the project rather than having an additional facility. Okay.
Okay.
So what is now she shared, actually she did a lot of explanation, factors affecting the initial cost. Right? Now changes in design. Right? When the construction is on, someone can change the designs. Right? And most of the time when we build houses, what we do is when the building is on, we increase the number of floors. So I did that. I was doing for 2 floors earlier. I thought I will add another floor because my batchmate, the structural engineer, did the structural designs. I knew he would have over-designed, right? And that it can stand. So still the house is standing now about 23 years. Nothing has happened. So with the foundation design for 2 floors, I increased to 3 floors. Right? So like this, changes can happen, and then the cost will be impacted. Right? Even mechanical and the scope, most of the time, even hotel or any other place. So we have to be mindful of changes in design. And the government approvals. She was going through. Now we estimate the project cost based on some date. But if there are delays, now we have Ceylon Development. We are trying to get approval for approval from Central Environment Authority for some land we own in Moratuwa, close to Bolgoda Lake. And now it's about 1 year. Still we haven't got approval. And the Ceylon Bank wanted to construct the building on Duplication Road. They had their Olupidia branch and another branch, and the building was demolished and during my time, and still I think they have not started the project. I think the approval delays. Then the time overruns, right? The cost, because of time overruns, we can have cost overruns. We have discussed that. Because interest during construction, if there's a time overrun, interest during construction will increase, right? Now exchange rate fluctuations, no one knows what is happening to the exchange rate these days. And there's no, I think forward booking cannot be done by banks because so volatile, and because of that, the project cost can increase. Okay. The difference in working capital requirements at the time of planning and actual commencement. We discussed now this net working capital. It can change because the maybe raw material cost increase when we complete the project. So the net working capital increase. Then the financial projections. I think we saw Noni's proposal, capacity utilization. We started with I think 40% or 25% and went up to, she said, by end of 10 years, 80%, right? So these capacity utilization and the number of units, price per unit, all these things can change. So all these are future projections. So we'll have to see whether we are estimating correctly. And it is very difficult task because we don't know what is happening in the future, especially in the Sri Lankan context because of the problems in the market. Now you can see here. Yeah, any question? So cash flow projections, right? And payback period. Yes, we know what is payback period, time taken to recover the investment. NPV should be more than 0, and IRR is when NPV is 0. Now, factors affecting the financial projections. Most of the customers, when they come to the bank, now even these 2 proposals, they are really doing well. Right? Now, if you take Tharindi's the warehouse, now she has customers for the area more than the building, right? But we don't know because the building construction can take time, and those customers, if they need in an urgency, they can go to some other building because they need that space, right? So then you might not have the customers. Now, with HNB towers, we initially started only for HNB, but we found that it is not viable for HNB to lease out the whole building. So we were looking for tenants, and we had Dialogue, who was paying a very good rent. Then we had WNS or Aviva, but during the wartime, the rents were very low. And after 2009, I thought we should go for the market rates. My manager said we will increase by 15%. No, I said no, not 15%. We look for the market rate, right? So it can work both ways. Now after Easter bombing and COVID, I think the rentals might come down. I haven't studied. Rentals might be low because people now working from home. You don't need so much of space, right? And people might say that we will give. There are several buildings in my Pamankad area vacant. They have not been able to give on lease because there are no takers. Right? So that means rentals are coming down. So the financial projections, you project you are 100% occupied, then I don't think you will have that 100% occupation. Then your financial projections will be actual income will be low. So, and the production, you may not be able to produce what you have planned. And the inability to price the product in the market, right? Because increases in direct costs, market prices lower than the cost, so you have negative margins. Then the increased operating expenses than the projected level. And if there is cost overrun, then there can be increased debt in terms of increased debt commitments. Project financing is very difficult thing, but it is very rewarding. If you now, I can speak of some projects I have financed because when the projects are completed, you are happy that you have been involved. Now, hydropower sector, I am very happy that I have been involved in financing a lot of hydropower projects because Sri Lanka gained on renewable energy. Now, I think main thing is solar power and wind power. So risk analysis, she said participant risk. Right. What is the participant risk? This is we are going through revision. So what is participant risk? Participant risk is if there is
shareholders' ability to come up with additional funding if it's needed.
Yes, correct. Thank you. Yeah, I think that is the participant risk because if there's a cost overrun, whether the shareholders have ability to finance. I think did Bhuvika say that we get a bank guarantee or something for the additional funding that they can bring, but that is also not easy because that is another cost for the shareholder. Right? So risk appetite for lenders for additional funding. Right? Now I have explained to you that hydropower project we did in Ratnapura, financed by 4 banks led by NDB, and that had 2 cost overruns. First cost overrun we financed, then the 4 bay tank collapsed after when they were trying to commission. Then we had to fund. Right? If we didn't fund, that project would have failed and the banks would have lost money as well. So risk appetite of the lenders for additional financing. So some banks might say in a syndication that we can't fund because our management is not keen to put good money after bad money, right? So, and then Bhuvika mentioned non-availability of supplier financing arrangements, right? Supplier financing, if you have negotiated, but then it is not available. The completion risk, and that is very high risk if you don't complete the project. Now, if you take normal buildings, office building, then the completion risk is very low because we know the project cannot have too much of cost variation, and the construction also is good, easy if a very good contractor is used. So the risks are low. But there are projects like the hydropower projects where the terrain is difficult, the risks are high. So risk of project completion. So mitigation measures she mentioned are competency level and previous experience of technical resources available for project development. So now we know there are, I think today I saw wind power there was a from CT, the investment company has sent a note. Who are the biggest renewable energy developers in the country? And the wind, what is that? Newly today, I think they started trading. I have not followed up the price. Wind power is one of the biggest, and they are more than Mr. Dhammika Pereira's valuable or something they have. Then Eco Power is there. There are several group companies doing renewable energy. So they have the expertise. When they do a new project, they know what are the problems they will have, then they will take care. And when they have even maintenance, their engineers, their technicians are experienced in doing maintenance of their projects when they have experience, when they have expertise in the past. Appointment of an independent consultant for progress reviews. I have also discussed this with you, and this is Dhurunika also mentioned, because we don't have the knowledge, and maybe the promoter also doesn't have the knowledge, so we'll have to appoint an independent consultant. And the machine installation by the supplier or directly supervision by a team on the machinery supplier, because if the machine has a problem, the supplier might say you have installed it wrong, right? Because of that, it is better if the machinery supplier install it, or someone they have nominated to install the machinery. So the engineering risk. So here we are looking at mitigation, how to mitigate engineering risk. Technical designing by resources with prior experience in previous projects. And I shared with you one of my first projects financed by DFCC and HNB together. We got from CECB the engineers to check the designs and give their input, okay, so that they have experience in designing hydropower, large hydropower projects. And the design cost reviewed by an independent expert, because someone can come up with high cost or bad design, so someone has to check that. And the retention guarantees from the vendor contractor. What does that mean? It's not clear to me. What is retention guarantees from vendor contractor? That is, after the project is completed, we keep retention. Retention may not be enough, because we are releasing it after 6 months or 1 year. But we need a guarantee. Now, when we did Spathodia apartment project on Havelock Road, buyer came, he lives in Germany, right? And he wants to buy an apartment for his mother who was living in Sri Lanka. He was asking whether we give about 5 or 10 year guarantee for the building. I said, no, we can't give that we get 1 year guarantee from the contractor. After that, normally buildings don't have any problems. So different countries, it is different. So what is the guarantee when you get the construction done by a good contractor? That is also a guarantee, because we know they will do it professionally. The infrastructure risk. Now, I think this again shared with you the hydropower projects. Hydropower projects are done in remote areas and the grid is not there. So CEB will promise, and you will pay to CEB also to get the grid closer to the site. And sometimes you complete the project and the grid is not available. And there is she explained, there's a wind power project financed by LVL Energy and in Kalpitia, and the CEB was to do the what is that called, electric switchyard in Noracholi, and they haven't done it, right? And still the project can generate electricity, but there is no you can't connect to the grid because the CEB has not done it, and because LVL Energy is financially they can manage it. The project is they are paying the loan without any income. And the secondary recovery source, I think Tharindri's proposal they have the secondary recovery source. That is from the existing company operations, the income you are paying for the new project loan, right? So that is strengthening the repayment capacity. Then the country political risk. Now that she took, for example, the banks are now funding projects for several years in Maldives, that we were doing it even from 1990s, and then recently in Africa, like Uganda and all those countries, then Bangladesh, right? So then I have seen a due diligence done by Dilnika on Maldives for the bank recently, because after the COVID, she has done a due diligence risk report for Maldives, and so that the bank will know what to do in Maldives, what their strategy in with the loans they have granted in Maldives. But Maldives, I have seen, has recovered very well with the tourism. Not like us, we are still struggling with few tourists coming, but Maldives has recovered. Maybe one reason, they have all the islands in different places, so you can directly come to the airport and go to the island by seaplane or a speedboat. Then they are isolated. So, but Sri Lanka, we have a problem, and presently we are having increase in COVID cases, and we were to have the Ceylon Development Board meeting at Ceylon Bank next Monday. So they have made it a online meeting because of the country risk, the COVID risk. This country risk insurance, I studied this recently for a presentation. You can take country risk insurance for maybe exchange variation, right? The foreign currency, the currency variation, but you can't take risk insurance for political risk. There can be political risk like what NDB has experienced. They proposed project loan for Myanmar. Luckily, their board has declined. So therefore, now that's political problem. You can't have a risk insurance for political matters. You can have risk insurance for foreign currency variations. Syndication risk. What is syndication risk? Can someone explain? I'm going to open an email where I have some information. Now, after I retired from HNB, a couple of months, I joined Ceylon Bank. So before even joining Ceylon Bank, I asked from HNB whether there are any projects. Then Dilnika was heading the project finance. She said they are doing a syndication loan for Maldives for a infrastructure project, right? So we started, myself and I had my associate Rahul De Silva. Both of us went for a first meeting at HNB, and then there were about 4 or 5 banks, right? And each bank put their own conditions, right? So what happened was, finally the borrower, the promoter, Chinese company, they got fed up with the banks, and they took the loan from some other foreign bank, because the syndication risk is we don't agree with the conditions. So then the project will be delayed, the project cost will increase, right? And that's why she said the credit agreement with clear definition of borrowers and lenders' rights and obligations. And if you have done syndication loan, you will know the trouble you have to take when you do a syndication loan. But what we learned from doing that syndication loan, which did not come through, we used that knowledge to give loans to Maldives. on our own through Ceylon Bank. Okay. So the environmental risk. So you can have environmental approval, and she was saying still you can have protest. Right? And she says even for environmental areas, we can appoint a consultant, independent consultant from the bank to review whether the project is done according to the environmental approval. Because environmental approval is there are conditions. You have to do this. So you have to monitor whether these are done. I think legal risk, all of you know, title insurance. Most of the lawyers, the easy way out is asking for a title insurance, right? And some say even some land is there, you can't even take title insurance, so that the title is so bad. Then the supply risk, diversity of suppliers. Supply risk is if you have one supplier, you have a higher risk. So you have to have several suppliers from several areas so that your supply risk will be reduced. Then the operating risk, the technical cost management. Yeah, what is operating risk is when the project is completed and the company is now operating, the factory or the hotel or the power project is operating, right? So there can be, there should be post-installation technical support from the vendor. You can have teething problems when you start a project. Initially, you may not be generating adequate, and the technical training for staff of the project company need technical training, right? And insurance. So if there's a revenue loss, cover. Now, when we are doing Spathodia, we got an insurance for fire insurance, and if there is a fire, then we should be able to get our tenants to be relocated in a hotel. So there was payment. We had a small fire and we relocated our tenants and claimed the insurance. Review of management action plan for maintaining the cost of operations at lower levels. Right. So these are easy. I think I'm not going into all the points. And it is, the risk is low if you have in-house capacity to manage any operational risk. You can see now we had this new technology for a couple of presentations that is not there now. That the IBSL has got it as a trial, and now they have returned it, and we are back from last Tuesday also. Dildika did on this computer, so we are back to the old system, and I think IBSL will call for tenders and purchase. Maybe then our cost will be over. Foreign exchange risk. Measures taken to address foreign exchange volatility. I think very difficult to address this risk at the moment. So market risk. I think Dildika explained Porter's 5-force model and rivalry among competitors. And threat of new vendor. Rivalry among competitors is when new competitor come, new supplier, new company comes, others will somehow try to block them. Now that happened with you know, Siddha Lepa and what is that other company which is on the Candy Road. They had a Sahana Lepa, right? They had a product called Sahana Lepa and Siddha Lepa. Siddha Lepa went to the court saying that they have copied their product. Where Sahana Lepa is similar sounding. The case took long time, but Sahana Lepa, that is, what is that company? Anyone remember? Sahana Lepa is
Vendol.
Huh?
Vendol, sir, no?
Vendol. Vendol is Sahana Lepa. I think that product is no more. The Sahana Lepa won the case, but it is delayed because until then they could not market their product. So Vendol had the Siddha Lepa somehow stopped Vendol from coming with that product because through set of through legal action. So then threat of new entrants. Some industries very difficult to enter because of the monopoly or oligopoly of the existing players. So one reason is sometimes you have to, if your investment is very much, then you cannot. But when threat of new entrants is not there for power projects, because any power project come, then they can, if they have the CEB approval, they can sell to the CEB. And the substitutes, she mentioned, you come up with the product and you manufacture it, but substitutes will come maybe at a lower price, and then you are out of the market. One example coming to my mind is the fertilizer company that is called Ceylon Fertilizer Company, which was located in Sapuaskanda, and they in 1970s they came up, their raw material cost was so low, their finished product was cannot be marketed because you can get at lower cost the same fertilizer. And finally that project was scrapped and the machinery was sent to Pakistan. Now the Lindell Industrial Estate is in that place. So there are situations when you come up with the product may be outdated or the substitutes would have taken the market. Okay, now funding risk. Funding risk is if you are with one bank. Right now, I think Tarindri's example, they have several banks. They have Sampath Bank, at the HNB and SBB, right? So then the funding risk is low. If you have only one bank and you have a problem, if they refuse, you can't go to another bank. I know HNB Finance, these twin towers of Sunken, which is in the Colombo 2 and closer.
Next to Altair, right?
Huh?
Next to Altair.
Next to Altair, yeah. It's called Twin Peaks. It was only HNB. So they wanted to get additional facilities. HNB is refusing because they have given 4 billion or 5 billion. So they don't want
5 billion.
5 million, no? So did NDB give money?
No.
Yeah, I think
because they came to NDB. They wanted to go for a syndication with NDB in TB, but that was at the height of COVID, and I don't think the other bankers also agreed. But later we heard that HNB, they themselves funded.
Yeah. HNB, and I think I checked with the promoters. They said People's Bank and HNB or something.
Maybe.
I think they went to NDB Investment Bank to syndicate it, and the NDB Investment Bank would have come to NDB and NTB. I remember them going to NDB and NTB, but the banks were reluctant to finance because after financing Altair, I think the banks would have burned their fingers. Is Altair paying their loans?
Yes, sort of.
Right. Now they are back in business, no? I think
yes. They had a soft opening.
Right. Okay. So it's better to have multiple banking for any business. This force major risks. So that is insurance, I think, and this contractors all risk insurance policy. You understand what this is, no? When if there is a problem in the construction, then you can claim insurance through contractors all risk insurance policy. Right. So what Julika did in 2 hours, which was very well done, I covered the revision in about half an hour. And last time, since we did overtime, we completed 9:30. Today I'm going to finish early. And any questions?
You have your expert knowledge on solar power investments, because can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear. I want to see Let me see.
This is
Yeah.
Nuwani.
Yeah, Nuwani. Yes.
Okay. So now we came across a project. This is this promoter is going to install solar panels in the Eastern Province. Government schools. This is a private, public-private partnership type of thing, where the one part is the government. So they are going to install solar panels in schools and government institutions, rooftops.
Yeah. Okay.
So they were very confident about that, but we of course saying it's the operational risk of that project is very high, because it's not in a one location, maintenance of it and security in terms of solar panels. When you're in the school in a rooftop, the schools roofs are not very tall enough even. Oh, I mean, like anyone, something might go wrong.
Right.
So, but in addition to that, what do you think about this type of, this is not in a one location, this is like in 1,000 schools, these solar panels will be.
Right. As you say, when it is in several areas, there is a risk. But then the risk, there is actually risk also reduced, because in several places. If it is one place and you have a problem there, then you won't get the power. But here, 100 schools is in school roofs, no? You are saying?
Yeah, school or any government institution. They will first go with schools.
Okay. Yeah, I think that is a viable profession. You have to see who gets the payment, whether the education ministry or that government institution, or the power is this developer. Because
yeah, that's also a concern, because I was told the CEB goes with the go for the contract agreement with the place, with the location, owner of the location.
Yeah.
Whereas
we financed, when I was at Ceylon Bank, some rooftop solar power things. Then they lease the roof from the owner of the factory or something. They get the lease of the roof, right?
Okay.
Then I think if you get the lease, then you can have a agreement with CEB, because because the school getting electricity is different thing. There are three ways of doing solar power. One is what are the three ways?
Net metering, net accounting, and net plus.
Net plus. Now net metering is the one I have, because at that time there was only net metering, 2015. Now net accounting and net plus is beneficial. Net accounting, you get the difference, what you use and what you are paid monthly, that difference. Net plus is the school will get electricity normal channels, but you will be selling from the roof. That will be two different things, right? So net plus is good thing. I think there are I saw one proposal refinance scheme at 4%. 4%. Yesterday I organized this seminar at Organization of Professional Associations regarding how to get a loan from a bank. I got from People's Bank, Mr. SME AGM, and then from Chief Manager Mohan Fernand from Commercial Bank, and two HNB guys. And the Mr. Narayan, AGM People's Bank, said there is a scheme, 4% interest. Is it only for households or for projects? It's only for households, I think. No?
Might be, sir. Because refinance schemes.
Yeah. I think it is for people who use their roof and generate power and sell to the CEB. The loans can be taken at 4%. Right? That is the lowest interest scheme according to Vikrama Narayana available. But if it is a project, then the rate will be normal commercial rate. Okay. But Nuwani, I think this is a good proposal. Look at the strength of the developer also, right? How strong they are, and what is their experience. Now we just discussed on the risk. Have they done this before? Whether they have similar facilities with even private roofs going on. So those are some areas you can look at. Then I can give free consultancy for you.
Thank you, sir.
Right. Okay. Any other questions? Yeah.
Sir, have you given any assignment last week?
No, Lakmali. Actually, because I was very busy yesterday, I could not finish that assignment. I will be doing tomorrow, and I will share it with all of you. That is a resort financing project proposal done by an investment bank to get a syndicate loan. So it will be easy one for all of you. I have to take out the names, and what I think Tharindri did today, and she could not take out some names. So I don't want to make the same mistake. I will get it ready, and I will share with you that what you have to do is, that is the project proposal. You have to prepare a memo for board approval or your credit committee approval for that purpose, right? So
and when is the deadline for that, sir?
I have to give it first. No.
Right. Okay.
I will give you deadline today.
No, we'll have some more time. No, maybe you should.
Yeah,
you should.
Mid-May. Maybe we will make it mid-May, the deadline. Okay. And it will not take you a long time because you are always doing project analysis, the credit analysis, right? And thank you, Lakmali, for that question. I think any other questions? Somehow we came to the our normal time of finishing. I have that project analysis thing we have done halfway, and I can't remember where we stopped. Right? I have told our project coordinator to give me the recording to see where I stopped, but we will go through it again from the beginning, maybe to revise it and complete it after next 2 days presentation. So next Tuesday presentations, can I repeat it for the benefit of? So Vasana Heva Vitarana, Vasana has a different name, no? In the Isuri Silva, Sudeshi Rajapaksha, Sureka Kulasekara, H.K. Sampath, Fernie Samaratunga, Anuradha Herath, MIM Imam, J.K. Dhammika, Kumari Premachandra, Injivari Patirana. Maybe don't skip the class if you are not ready, but I urge you, this is good for you. To making a presentation is part of your development, your personal development. When you become senior, you have to make presentations, right? So you have to be ready anytime to make a presentations. If you have a problem, you can join a Toastmasters club and you can improve your public speaking and presentation and leadership skills. And presentation is very important when you talk with the customer, when you communicate, that skills are very much needed to convince someone. Okay? And not like the customers come to you for a loan and you have to go and present to your credit committee or the board for approval. So you should be able to have that presentation skills. And I am very happy that both Tharindri and Nuwani did their presentations very well. Okay. Thank you very much. Good night.
Good
Thank
night.
you, sir. Good night.
Good night.
Sir, thank you very much.
So are all the lectures available online? Have all the lectures been recorded and are they available in the classroom? Yes.
Yes. No, last two, now they have used that new technology, and they haven't got that recordings, right?
So the other than the last two lectures, everything else is available.
Everything is available, and one day forgot to record, that is not available. Otherwise, everything is available in the classroom. Menaka can confirm, Menaka has confirmed to me that is available in the classroom. So you
Okay,
go
sir.
there, and if he is not available, tell me or Menaka, then we will get it there. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you.